Mana pane nyaya huru kwete zvekutamba izvozvo. Ane nyaya hombe yatekutamba iyi. So the 2030 plan. So it looks as if what is about to happen right now in Zimbabwe, it's an issue where people are going to be led to protest in the streets. And this might start as early as next week. I mean, we have seen that the vendors in Bulawayo were already protesting. And with the arrest of Job Sikhala, remember what Job Sikhala had said, that he was going to put his weight way well behind the war veterans for supporting an ED exit campaign. And to make issues even worse is that shops have closed and none of the things in Zimbabwe are working. And the Reserve Bank, in fact, after hearing shops have closed, they went to blame the shops for mismanagement of they went to blame the shops to say that you guys are busy mismanaging your own finances. You can't blame the Reserve Bank. You can't blame the ZIG basically for failing things. And ED or Emmerson Mnangagwa's mood lately is not been one of a happy man. I mean, every time he's going out or he's at a public appearance, it looks like Vice President Chiwenga is always there next to him, and Chiwenga has something to say. It's no longer one of those days where he just used to be roaming around and going this place and going that place, but it's now that Chiwenga is there. And another thing is that we have it confirmed that the Zimbabwean military has since barred anyone from entering their barracks. What is this? From their barracks as of this week, claiming, we don't know the real reason why it is happening, but we assume that the reason why they are stopping anyone from entering the Zimbabwe military barracks, it's because to do with something of ED 2030 ouster. And a lot of prominent figures that have been anti-ED 2030, at least up until now, have started showing their faces. I mean, remember that there was a prominent figure called Chimama. Chimama was always addressing, but in hiding, always addressing, but not really showing a face or not knowing who it is. But now she has come out clear, and now she is saying that as of this week, as of tomorrow, we need to go and we need to start protesting against ED Mnangagwa, and Emmerson Mnangagwa must go. And they are no longer saying just 2030, but they want him to go. And today in Midlands as well, there was a youth ZANU PF gathering, of which it ended up with fists being exchanged, with people fighting each other within the same ZANU PF. Okay, there is just an image of Job Sikhala, who has also been arrested, right? Sikhala is arrested because apparently
June 14, 2022, I was arrested for representing more Blessing Ali, a single mother and a political opposition leader who was brutally murdered. They cut her body into 3 pieces and dumped it into a deep well. By the time we finally found her, she was in a decomposed state. And for taking on a feminist legal case, I endured 595 days of pre-trial incarceration at the notorious Good Maximum Security Prison. It was the only way Zimbabwe's corrupt regime could manipulate the 2023 elections and stop me from participating in them. Inside prison, they denied me food and visits from relatives, colleagues and friends. When I got sick, they chained me to a hospital bed despite being on a sleeping dose. The regime piled cases against me during the period of my incarceration, and I faced 5 trials and they convicted me on 2 of them. One conviction procured out of the law that does not even exist.
That would be a big move. So it's better for them to go out and actually start arresting anyone in opposition that they think they might add weight to this whole ED 2030 ouster. And remember, in order for this one to work, the ED 2030 ouster, or to oust Mnangagwa, what is necessary at this point is to actually have the people from the opposition, the general public of Zimbabwe, to basically sanitize this new coup that is coming, because without those people, that might look like a treasonous act. So in this case, the fact that they went out, or the fact that these guys are actually going to, what can I call it? The fact that these guys, or the Mnangagwa guys, or Matanda guys, is actually going around to arrest people like Job Sikhala is rather a deadly move on their side, because what will end up happening is that it will give the war veterans even more reason to call people out on the street. It will give, and once these people are out of the street and the military has not been given access to actually go and disperse a protest, that will be detrimental to Emmerson Mnangagwa. So him touching the opposition people, thinking that he can silence them, could be a own goal in his own post if he is not careful, if he is not smart about it, if he is not clever about it. And that is something that it should, that is something that we are waiting to see what is going to happen. So probably they would release Job Sikhala by now. They've done the same thing with this journalist that are allowed to host the war veterans that are anti-ED. This guy actually came out and is like, hey, listen, they arrested him for allowing the war veterans to have a press conference. They said that he insulted a minister or attacked a minister, but that was a scare and intimidation tactic to get him not to allow them to be there again. And that's what they're doing at Job Sikhala. That's what they'll be doing with people that they may deem weak. But if the war veterans want us to go on the street with them, they gotta offer the protection. They gotta offer the people the power. So they gotta guarantee some sort of a protection so that the people can actually sing ED 2030 ouster. Having said that though, you must know that George Charamba just recently, George Charamba posted, he replying to a tweet on Namatai Kwekweza. The guy literally said that, hey, listen, he literally said that I'm waiting to rape. What is this? I'm waiting to rape you. When she responded to him about the post where she was saying that I'm not into the USA thing. Yeah, when she responded, when she literally said that, they fight about the USA thing, and she asked him, like, you have a victim that claims that you raped them, so what is going to happen? And he literally said that I'm waiting to rape you. And this is a person that is regarded to be a presidential advisor. I've always maintained, and we've always maintained, that in order for you to qualify in Emmerson Mnangagwa's cabinet, you have to do one of the following things. It's either you have to rape, you have to murder, you have to steal. If you do all of those three things, you qualify as one of the moral high standards that are kept by ZANU PF itself, or ED Mnangagwa. Those are the things that he values, because he himself is rather a thief. He himself is no one. That's all he promotes. And I think some of them within ZANU PF are waking up to that reality, but I'm afraid that they do not learn. In 2019, when we started protesting against this guy, they were shooting at us, and they did not come out to say anything. People like Tafumane Masaya were killed. They did not come out to say anything. Now that they're having their factionalism battle, they need us there. And to be honest, they really do need us there. In fact, either faction of this whole thing need us there, but ED's faction is unpopular, and we just want him out there. We will deal with Chiwenga when the time comes. But at the moment, we do not have a strong, stable opposition. And again, the arrest of Job Sikhala, of Wiwa, or Job Sikhala, MP Job Sikhala, Honorable Job Sikhala, is one that is a blunder for ED, and he just perhaps need to arrest.
June 14, 2022, I was arrested for representing more Blessing Ali,
at a time where
a single mother and a political opposition leader who was brutally murdered. They cut her body into 3 pieces and dumped it into a deep well. By the time we finally found her, she was in a decomposed state.
2 seconds.
and for taking on a feminist legal case, I endured 595 days of pre-trial incarceration at the notorious Krupp maximum security prison. It was the only way Zimbabwe's corrupt regime could manipulate the 2023 elections and stop me from participating in them. Inside prison, they denied me food and visits from relatives, colleagues and friends. When I got sick, they chained me to a hospital bed despite being on a sleeping dose. The regime piled cases against me during the period of my incarceration, and I faced 5 trials and they convicted me on 2 of them. One conviction procured out of the law that does not even exist.
What would happen then? Then it would take 90 days for ZANU PF to produce a new president, and it has to be, and that during that time Chiwenga would have taken over ZANU PF, or would have been running the show in ZANU PF. And I won't lie to you, Chiwenga would not even go through elections, because he knows himself that if he goes through elections, he might lose. So you have a Chiwenga as president. And also the reason why they are fast to fight against the ED 2030, it's particularly because, number one, my elections. That's why they want to fight it now. If it was in a case where it's a free and a democratic country, calling for a ED 2030 with the situation as it is right now in Zimbabwe, no, they would know that that's suicide when it comes to the elections. So here they know that they can rig elections. That's why they are calling for an ED 2030. That's why they can even dream that they can be there in 2030. That's why there is not even a pressure, a burden on ZANU PF government to perform, because they know either way they are going to be in power. And then you ask, what are the people of Zimbabwe going to do about this? Literally nothing. Remember that these guys are bootlickers. For example, they were running behind Winkino Chivayo's cars. Most of them there. But now look where he is. Look where he ended up. He is now being ridiculed and being mocked for incompetency by the same ZANU PF people that he was busy with. So it shows you that in opposition we do not have leaders that stand by a principle. It's very few. And a lot of people might say things, this. I think she is quite strong, or in her stance, perhaps, she has never sold out. When you look at other people such as Douglas Monzora, for example, when you look at people like Chokozani Kupe, in fact, everyone that went to the cricket farm, it shows you the idea, the kind of people that are within Zimbabwe themselves, that they value money. They value money over the people that actually are literally putting their hopes in them. To vote in Zimbabwe is one of the most dangerous things that a person can do. To campaign for an election in Zimbabwe, especially if you're in the opposition, it's one of the life sacrifices that some people actually do, because a lot of us do not make it. A lot of us never made it to the election, to the ballot, because the time of elections is the time of abductions, is the time of intimidations, it's the time of mass human rights violations. But still, people come out and vote for you, and the first thing that you do, you find a cabal in ZANU PF and you start doing illicit deals, and you run away, and with that, you disappear with their money. I mean, like, what? Not disappear with their money, but you start also joining the corruption, putting pain on the same citizens that once voted for you. I mean, when we are voting, you're voting with hope. And that's what Harare Council had become. Harare Council under Jacob Mafume had become that. And people, they do not listen. It is only up until such a time when the Zimbabweans as a mass, where it will feel like a celebrity, for example, that would type in and say that or Japreza to say that, or to be walking around with Winkino Chivayo should be something that is very embarrassing for him, because there will be mass cancellation. No one would even want to listen to his music. No one would even support such. No one would even be following Winkino Chivayo. No one would even be praising his name. People would be livid with him, just like what is happening in the USA with this guy called Elon Musk, where people are actually angry that is influencing some of the things that are happening in government. If Zimbabweans actually reach that type of a stage, trust me, these people will be out by tomorrow. They wouldn't even be staying there. If they will be out by midnight, because such an anger would spread to each and everyone. Remember, the soldiers are people. I like to reference the Russian Revolution. The people clearly marched to the St. Petersburg Square, actually marching to the star to say that, hey man, we are hungry, can you do something about it? And what happened then? They were met with violence. Someone shot at the peaceful protesters, and the Red Army of Russia at that time was the first to actually start engaging with the King's Guard, to make sure that these people, that's what started the Russian Revolution. And what's fun is that there was a Bolshevik Revolution in 1904 or something like that, and in 1918 there was another revolution. Within that short period of time, people were out. And it's interesting that when the settlers came into Zimbabwe, it didn't take time up until our ancestors started standing up. I remember the first in 1893, the Mantebelelands were the first to stand up against it, the first Shimrenga. Although being joined by the Shona in 1896, they were the first people to stand up against such things. But for us, when are we going to realize that, I mean, we need to stand up for something? And I don't blame the people that actually don't want to come up to the show or don't want to say anything into the show, because what happens is that you have a brother that is in the trenches. He thinks about his stomach. The first chicken in he sees, he betrays you. But listen to Chiwenga here, his brother, or Chiwenga's brother. It looks like he's our mouthpiece now for what Chiwenga is thinking. I think these two have some sort of a relationship. Pacha roots kopa Harare.
They are going to go to West. Pacharutsiwa zvekuti dhu paHarare. Nevamwe vanhu vanonzi havasati vamborutsa vacharutsa wena. Things are going to get bad. They will vomit. This is my first prophecy for Zimbabwe. Hanzina Chiwenga, pacharutsiwa paHarare. Ringa here Shona murando waMwari, tiri maziso kuti mashona. Vamwe vanonetseka. Dati nini paHarare pachaita sei? Pacharutswa.
Yeah, funny, a lot of people could buy their own cars. They could buy a lot of things. But what I'm trying to say is that, when are we going to wake up, man? I mean, when are we going to wake up? When are we going to some sort of a national struggle? Do we need to split the country into three so that some people, they can have their own ZANU PF there, and some people can have their own things here, so that we can move forward, man? Like, a lot of people that are in the UK are actually worried about the growing right-wing movements. A lot of people, 500 of us in United States, also worried about the growing, right-wing movement that is anti-migrant. Then you ask yourself, like, when are we going to wake up, man? I mean, it's almost half a century, and Zimbabweans haven't done anything that is tangible. The roads, everything. We have a reserve bank that the people that are meant to be there, they actually come to spit in our faces to tell us that the ZIG is working. Your companies, they don't know how to manage the money. Wow, the ZIG is not accepted at any government office. It can't be accepted at toll gates. It can't be accepted at buying fuel. But they have the guts to tell OK that is their mismanagement and mismanagement of operations that is causing them to close down. And a lot of people just zip their mouth. We have George Charamba that is actually threatening, that feels so comfortable to come out and threaten a Zimbabwean citizen, to threaten them of rape, like I'm going to rape you, or I'm waiting to rape you, and no one, or some people just react and no one says anything. And this person is a presidential spokesperson. So, what type of a country do we have, and what type of a country do we want? At some point, people, they should be knowing that there is trenches like they are doing in Mozambique. People, they should know that no, let's find each other in the trenches and let's fight the evil that is in the world. Some people, they say that war is bad, but war is an equalizer of them all. I mean, that's the reason why there's a war in DRC, because a human by nature, they like autonomy over their own lives. They like some sort of freedom, of which in this country we do not have any freedom, and we want that type of autonomy. And if it is war that is going to bring it, we should actually reach a point where we say that I don't care, war must bring it. It's not fair that a person that already the system has failed to provide a job, and now akungwavha achicrossa border ntenga mabhero side izvo, so akubatirwa mari akustorerwa zvinhu izvozvo achiudzwa nzanzi inonzi chikwa hauna kubhadhara mari yetaxi, hauna kubhadhara mari yezimra, uri kusmagla zvinhu, you are a smuggler. Munhu ari kunongwavha achitenga something, achitenga magrosari kuti atengese, ndo akunzi smuggler nhasi. But ana Scots Kapkanya kunana wingi nevanosmagula goridhe renyika, mwana Mnangagwa anopa machinese kuti apwanya mountains, they're grading the land of Zimbabwe, and no one says anything. But also no one says anything when they are busy vachiti dzvanyiri isusu. We have become slaves in our own land, and no one says anything. Idi Mnangagwa is not our only problem, but I do agree, he must go. But even the ZANU PF cabal must go. No one should come up. Like, it's so stupid of them to actually have this Douglas Magia or something to come up and tell us this thing that, hey, listen, if we don't like the constitution, what the constitution says, we can tear up the constitution and make another constitution. We won't be detected by a constitution that was made under the Roman Dutch law. That's stupid and hogwash. I mean, first of all, a constitution is like a contract that you all agree on. If you are going to be tearing up a contract every time you have a where you are not going to be meeting the requirements, then that's barbaric. That's living like a baboon. Even a baboon wouldn't live in that type of a situation. And we have that type of a person. In fact, he's also implicated in corruption. Now, what is this Douglas Magia? That's why he's busy saying all of those things. He's saying that we are going to tear up the constitution. And to make it easy, in ZANU PF, they don't even follow their own constitution to start with. Why do we expect them to follow the constitution of the country? In 1980, yeah, I know it's hard, but we were never free. We would like to imagine that there was freedom there, but honest truth, we were never free. And perhaps we should start using these situations to actually free ourselves. I don't know which one is better. To die a slow death in pain and do nothing about it, or to die in the trenches doing something about it. And that's what we need in Zimbabwe. People that actually oppose the system, people that oppose oppression. Because what we are asking for, we are not asking for, what is this? We are not asking for, I would say, we are not even asking for, what can I say? We are not asking to have millions of dollars in our pockets or to have an economy that is looking like Dubai. We are just asking for accountability and non-corruption government. We are just asking for people that are actually arrest the people that are doing bad to society. We have people like Magaya. Number one, they contravene the Medicines Act in Zimbabwe. People like Magaya actually present a fake document in the court of law in Zimbabwe. Nothing happens to them. Fake UNISA qualification, nothing happens. Scammed people out of their money, nothing happens. Contravene tax laws, nothing happens to them. Job Sikhala takes a case to represent a woman that was actually cut in pieces. And immediately 2 years of his life is gone like that. And you call that society, and you actually say that I'm from Zimbabwe. And you think that you belong to some sort of a society. I mean, it couldn't be any worse than any society that ever existed on this earth. A person like Job Sikhala goes to prison for trying to represent a woman. a woman that was cut enough. But a person like Magayas and Sheki Tamburwa and Winknell Chivayo, they can loot all they want. They do not even get to be questioned in the police custody. Why? What type of a society is that? What does this society value? This society values crime. This society values everything that is bad. And that's the Zimbabwe that we're currently living in this year. And it's unfortunate that sometimes you share citizenship with people that are, what can I call them? With people that are, I mean, should I say slow people, or with people that cannot see the bigger picture, that they are holding us back. Some of us, we want to be in the street as soon as yesterday. We don't care what happens. Some of us, we want to rakasha vanonzano rakasha vacho. We don't care what happens, because it's a nightmare to exist as a Zimbabwean, especially I mean, as years pass by, the more difficult it gets to exist as a Zimbabwean. And with the, you can't really say anything about it. And the upper middle class income economy. And upper middle class income economy, that would mean that Emmerson Mnangagwa has to reach a GDP per capita of Zimbabweans. Zimbabweans have to have a GDP per capita of 5,000 US dollars, something close to what Botswana is. And by the looks of things, ever since he took power in 2018, at least the GDP per capita of Zimbabwe was something like 2,000. By now, the GDP per capita of Zimbabweans is like 1,400. It has even shrunk even more. It's telling you that the people are not making anything in Zimbabwe. They are not making any money. I mean, if it was at least, I would say that if between 2018 and now, and this GDP per capita is somewhere like 3,000, then I would be like, but hey man, but this guy has done something about the 2030. They've been saying that they're gonna finish the so-called travelers interchange. Have they done so? No, they didn't do that. The travelers interchange, they said that they were gonna finish it by January last year. It never finished. Then it was moved from January last year to July last year. It never finished. By the end of December, it never finished. By the end of the first quarter of this year, by January this year, they said that they're gonna. Sorry, I think I just said travelers interchange, boats interchange. Yeah, they said that they're gonna finish it by this year. It never finished. They never finished it. January passed, and they're saying that first quarter of this year they never finished. In fact, they had to cause an accident that killed a man because they do not have funds to actually do that. End up killing an innocent soul because they no longer have the funds. They've looted everything. They do not have any money in the bank. Like, they don't have money or foreign currency in the banks. That's because the over expenditure, they live beyond their means. That's why they are going door by door looking for citizens that kusunga murume ari kuzvipushiro zvake ngoro ane nzara ada kufidha ana ake, because Zimbabwe is clearly broke. It doesn't have any money. Normally, in normal societies, once things reach this type of level, all hell will break loose. But in Zimbabwe, it's like Tagara Trugiro Msoro, and we are laughing about it. I remember in Lebanon when that beetroot substance actually exploded. The Prime Minister and the government immediately just resigned, and they said that they are no longer leading the country because they know that they've ruined the economy. But in Zimbabwe, incompetent fools keep on ruling the economy and nothing happens. And I feel sorry for the people that are actually in our rural areas, that are being treated as if low-class citizens, being forced to go to Msangano. And the person that is forcing them to go to Msangano is probably given a bar of soap and a hoof to force other people to do that. Because Zimbabweans, they do not have empathy for each other. They do not have empathy for each other. Some people would actually even betray you for a car from Winknell Chivayo. Some people would betray you for even less for chicken in, like in 2023 elections. toseka chilo bengula akatengesa nyika neshuga pamwe taatengesa nyika nechicken in, but no one speaks about it. So that's what Zimbabwe has become, and that's what we have become, a laughing stock of the world. Or not have become, I think we have always been a laughing stock of the world, but I think we just keep on getting better and better at it, or getting less and less at it. We are going nowhere with Mnangagwa's leadership. Mnangagwa's leadership, what it's looking for is to put us in each and every negative rank in the world. The worst inflation to be number 1, Zimbabwe. The worst corrupt state in the world, number 1, Zimbabwe. The most hunger nation, number 1, Zimbabwe. The most depressed nation, number 1, Zimbabwe. The nation without water and hospitals and electricity, number 1, Zimbabwe. To Mnangagwa, that brings a smile on his ears. In fact, they even sing this stupid nonsensical song, Asingade Ngabude Zimbabwe. I wonder. Anyways, that was just my evening address. Thank you for watching this video. Hope that next time we'll get more interactive people in the views. And please subscribe to our channels and watch our videos, many of our videos that we put together.